Yo guys, a lot of you guys are new to my channel, never saw my content I did like 10 years ago, 7 years ago. So I wanted to put up a video that fully illustrates who I am. Now, the video I'm going to be putting up is the old me, but I still explain my journey pretty well. I explain my whole coming up in the game and what brought me to where I am now.
My story never told before in the world of pickup when it comes to meeting women, meeting girls, going on dates, and really just connecting with girls and feeling comfortable doing that, and my experience with it in this industry. So let's begin from the start. So when I was really young, I was always a very logical, introverted person. I wasn't the most popular kid in school by any means at all. I was someone you'd consider very quiet, very passionate about some things, always had a hobby I was very good at, very one-track minded from the beginning. So the first things I would do is I would get obsessed with one thing ridiculously. I would collect things a lot and almost like sit there pointlessly. So one thing I used to do, which is strange because it does relate to things now, I would collect various things. So one thing I'll do is collect a lot of paper and start to organize it in different ways. So I'd start to put them into make them into books and number them and start putting them around, and I would be completely obsessed with this. I would spend so much time just observing what I've done and just lying in the stuff I'd done. So I did this with post stamps, all that kind of stuff. But when it came to meeting girls when I was young, I sucked. I didn't know what I was doing, and that was probably because of the upbringing I was in. I was never encouraged to be very outspoken. I was never encouraged to be open-minded, to talk to people, to make new friends. I was always encouraged to stay away from people because ultimately they won't understand you. You're a gifted young kid. People won't understand that, so just do your own thing. And this advice was probably not for the best because it didn't help me expand in the world we are now. The world we are now, to get through, you need to be quite an extrovert. You need to be quite open. You have to start sharing things, and you can't be scared to share things with other people, because ultimately what will get you far in this world with all the social media, which wasn't really around when I was a kid, but it was starting to happen, is if you really get big, you need to show people who you really are and kind of not be scared about anything, kind of be unfiltered, not worry about what gets out there. So if something bad gets out there, deal with it after, not before. Worrying about what's going to happen in the future is never going to help you in the moment. So in school, I did want to be part of the cooler group. I did want to talk to girls, but I never did it. And what most of the time would happen is I would get bullied quite a bit. I remember even getting bullied by women. So not only could I not talk to women, women would pick on me and I would see it as like a joke. So that happened for a while. And when I went to high school, I would kind of mentally masturbate about the idea of talking to a girl. I would think about talking to one girl for months and months and months. And one day I did it, but I thought about it for probably most of the year. And what happened was an absolute disaster. She freaked out. Now, she didn't do this literally, but she was so uncomfortable when she told all her friends and made me very unpopular to say the least. But if I had been encouraged to talk to people at a younger age, everything would have been different. But I didn't come from a natural background, and that's what I want you guys to realize is I've come from a very non-natural background where I was very bad with girls from the get-go, and I can relate to anyone in a similar circumstance. So throughout high school, I was very philosophical, very mathematical. And that's what I was encouraged to do, just to be very good at maths and focus on that. Focus on what I was really good at, and don't worry about talking to other people, because ultimately they will betray you and do bad things, which is really bad advice because it's a lonely way to look at the world. But that's how I kind of lived my life. I had a girl that had a crush on me. Actually, first girl that had a crush on me, my mind was somewhere else. In hindsight, I would have loved to hang out with her, but my mind was so far detached from everything, I didn't even realize at the time. I was so fixated with me sucking at girls and me not. That just wasn't my thing. That even though she liked me, I didn't know how to deal with it or what to do. She even asked me out on a date, and I just basically ignored it, not really understanding what it really was. I was always a good student, did well, but in year 12, I started getting a bit more chaotic. I met some crazy people, and they took me out drinking, and then this actually allowed me to meet girls, and I hadn't done this at all. So for me, this was something I had missing, even though all my values were getting good grades and whatnot. Something I'd been missing inside just been shown to me, and emotionally this was more important. Logically it's more important for me to get grades, but emotionally I had been awakened in a way that I'd never seen before, so that kind of fucked up my last year in high school. And I went out and got drunk, met girls very sometimes, but the fact that I was talking to some girls was for me very absurd, and eventually had like some short relationships and got with a very small amount of women, 1 or 2 or 3, and for me this was crazy. I hadn't like experienced anything like this before, but I was by no means good with girls. I was still scared away the girls I got with, but I was actually able to talk to, well, I wasn't able to, I was actually talking to some girls, but just not necessarily good at it or anything meaningful. But this fucked up my last year of high school. Had to end up going back and doing it again. So I go into university, and in university I focused on getting it all done. So for my first 3 years of uni, I did well. I got my degree, and then I went back to do more. But by this time I had found pickup community. I was in my first, let me still say, in my first year uni, I had a girlfriend, and that didn't go well. I was way too needy, scared her away with every like moment. So this is what I'd do back in the day, is you would find me searching on Google how to do this, how to do that when it comes to girls. So how to get a girl to like you, searching that on Google, how to get a girl to not ignore you, what to text a girl, all that kind of stuff. And the advice I got was absolutely absurd, and it was bad, and it actually pointed me in the wrong direction, because if I was to find something meaningful, I would ignore it, but I would take the easy, fastest way out, which would never work, because if you are finding the best thing to say, no one really knows the best thing to say. There never was and there never will be, because everyone's different, everyone's unique. It's more about understanding, connecting with people, and then doing what you want to do from there, and not really like expecting anything from people, not needing something to happen. But when you do something out of need, doing something out of because you need it to feel something, no matter what you find, no matter what you find to say, no matter how cool it is, it will never work, because it's the emotions and the underlying sub-communication which makes it real. And without that, it's never going to be real. So I went to university for a bit, didn't meet too many girls. It's really strange, because there was one point where I hadn't kissed a girl for a year, and I remembered back the last girl I kissed, and I was like, that was a whole year ago. Wow. And then the next girl I kissed, it was such a big deal that I kissed a girl, because the last one was a year ago. I thought that meant, well, for me emotionally, that was more special than it really was. For me, I'd put so much attention onto it. I'd think about it a lot. Like, I'd think about it for weeks. And this is so unhealthy, so ridiculous. And this happened for a long time. This went on and on and on until, funnily enough, someone I was very close to showed me a YouTube channel. And that wasn't even a pickup channel, but through that, I found a pickup channel and I started just listening to what they had to say, not really understanding it, but copying what they said word for word, or trying to, and going out and saying it. Now, what didn't really work, you can't copy things word for word as a script, because you're not taking into consideration how they're feeling, you're not appreciating them, you're not showing them who you are as a person, you're not expressing, you're not doing all those things. But at least I started, and I did this blindly for a long period of time. I went out just trying to do what people said worked. And what this developed into is, I thought to talk to a girl, you had to go direct. You had to say what it is that is sexy about her, because I didn't know how to talk to girls. I didn't know how to express my interest, so I had to explicitly say it. Even if I didn't even know what it is to be interested in someone, I just thought you had to say they were sexy, or you had to say something witty and funny, so then you could buy more time to hang out with them. You had to almost buy their time with things you said. And you had to say the best thing. So I was always fixated on that at the start, and I was completely oblivious to how they felt in return, how they felt about my presence, how I looked, like how I could be betrayed, all that kind of stuff. I was oblivious to it, but I went around doing this obnoxiously, and I had some other friends who were similar, other friends who just went out and approached mindlessly. And this kind of affected me in a way which I wasn't able to keep a stable job. I had a job, but my mind wasn't there. My mind was someone approaching every girl I could to get this figured out. Like, I knew at this stage, just through the small amount of results I got from doing the mindless approaches, that this is for me. I found some passion with this, and I knew that this is what I was going to do, and nothing could take that away from me. I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing, but I was so dedicated to do it. And I found other people like-minded to do it as well, and I knew this is going to be a long run. This is going to take a while. But back in the day, I started going out, getting really drunk. That's how I would do it at first, because I was so anxious, so unsure, I had so little reference experience about whether this was okay or if this is real. I had to get drunk to make it okay, to suppress all the things that were telling me that it wasn't really a thing. And it was cool, it got me started, but it's really hard to learn when you're really drunk. When you get really drunk, your references are almost within your drunk state, so you have to get drunk again to get back to where you were before. But if you remove the alcohol, the liquid confidence is gone. You're not where you were before, you have to start again. And eventually I started doing this sober, and there was something missing. Since I hadn't really met many girls, and I've always been obsessed with one or two girls and thought about it but never done anything, I went into it very needy and kind of needing it to happen. And I would trick myself. I'd be like, well, I've approached this many girls. I've approached like hundreds and hundreds and thousands of girls now, so I'm a boss. No one else. The first thing I went through is, I'm approaching girls. No one else does that. So I'm a fucking boss just for doing that. And yes, that's true. You're going and talking to girls. That is the first step, because not many other people will do that. And that is the thing you need to do if you want to go and meet people. You need to go talk to them. So that's the first thing I did. And did it questionably at first, to be honest. Scared a lot of people. Didn't take into consideration how they felt. Went about it very blindly. And I'll give you guys an example. Within like 6 months, I had accumulated maybe 1,000 numbers. And I met this guy, my first real mentor, so much thanks to him. And I showed him, like, I was actually showing off, because at the time I thought I was a boss, and I was like, hey dude, look at all the numbers I have. There's like 500 numbers. I have like 20 girls with the same name. How cool is that? And then he was like, alright, cool. Show me your messages with them. So I did. And out of the 500 girls, really none of them replied. Maybe like 10 and 20 replied, but they didn't go anywhere. And he was like, interesting. But to me, I was just like, look, it's cool, I got the numbers. That's the whole point, right? To get numbers and look cool. And at that time, it was like an ego thing for me. I built an ego around this, and it wasn't going in a positive direction, and he noticed this. He was like, okay, interesting, he's gotten all these numbers, he's getting numbers, girls are giving him the numbers, so he's going up and talking to girls, and I thought that the girls were attracted to me because they were giving my number, but in reality, they may have been attracted, they may have liked me, but I was lacking something, and that was, they didn't understand what was going on. I wasn't making them feel comfortable, there was no connection, and I was kind of making them very uncomfortable. And if someone can't relate to you and they don't know you, they have no reason to see you again. They're just going to be like, that was funny. And nothing is going to eventuate of it. I accumulated so many numbers, and I was at a point where I didn't really know if this worked yet. I just was told that I had to keep doing this, and I was doing it very mindlessly. And as of so far, I didn't really get many results, and I was starting to almost question if this was real. But luckily what happened is I got with the first kind of attractive girl, and this was like a little insight of what was going to happen. I was like, well, maybe this is real, maybe this whole thing works, maybe you can do this and actually get girls. And in reality at the time, I was going very direct and scaring a lot of people, which isn't a good thing, but eventually you're going to meet someone that's available and you get with no matter what you're doing, right? So at the time I was being very direct, and you can go direct and get girls, you can go indirect and get girls, but the way I was doing it was I was alienating a lot of people that I could have connected with when I didn't have to. But every now and then I would connect with someone just because I was always meant to connect with them. I would have connected with them regardless. But if I did things in a different way, which is how I've decided, well, how things are now, you can connect with so many different people, but there are always people you're going to connect with no matter what. So that gave me a lot of reassurance that I was on the right path. I finally got my first reward, and that was when things started getting really serious. After that, I told the story of how I got with her to my friends, and like, you should write about it because people want to know your experience and want to hear, some stories. So I did that. So I wrote about it, and then I was recommended to keep writing about things I've been doing and keep a track of what I've been doing so far and keep track of everything I'm doing since then. And ever after that, I started writing field reports every day, and it got to the point where all I would do is go out and think about what I was going to write about that day, and it got ridiculous. It got to the point where I wrote 300 field reports in a row, and these field reports still do exist out there somewhere, and I got some results throughout the way, but it just made me completely obsessed. This is all I did now. All I did was go out. I'd go out like for hours and hours every day with some other people. Sometimes I'd go out for like 8 hours every day for a week and for months, and some days I would get no results, scare people, but I was doing it. I was so dedicated to make this work, and it was ridiculous. I remember going out with this one guy, and we would wake up at 6 a.m. to go to the city at 8 a.m. and stay out all day until the last train home, which was at midnight. I lived very far from the city, so I had to get the midnight train, and we would go out for longer than 12 hours, bigger than 12-hour sessions in field, and this is crazy. This is insane. Now, I came from such a strange background that no one told me this was bizarre. Like, no one really said, I shouldn't be doing this is unhealthy, but I mean, some people did, but most of my friends that I had made previously kind of just left me. They just thought I was crazy, and they weren't friends with me anymore, because this is very antisocial, strange behavior. And of course it is. And it got to the point where I'd been going out so much and doing the same thing, people would recognize me, but I was so blind, I didn't even remember them. So I'll talk to a girl and she's like, you've already approached me 3 times this month. And this is starting to get quite annoying, to be quite frank. And this would happen over and over again. And I had to kind of block it out to keep saying and keep doing this. So I wrote field reports about this non-stop. And what ended up happening is I did various different challenges, like immersion challenges, and I was always in the same city. And my results were very slow, but it wasn't until I found an interesting group of guys who were just getting into it, that they were dedicated, and we all moved into a house inside the city. It was quite a big house, and this is where things started to change. I had better logistics. I was surrounded by people that wanted to do this, and I had about half a year under my belt of experience in writing about it non-stop. So we'd go out like every day, me and my group of friends at the house. We'd talk about pickup, we'd talk about getting girls. That's all we'd talk about. Would only be friends that would talk about. Would only watch pickup videos. I would be one of those guys that would sit on RSD Nation or pickup websites and keep pressing refresh to see if there was new stuff. And every time there was a new pickup video, you bet I'd watch it. And that's all I'd do. Go out and meet new girls, try to anyway, and just do this insane amount. And I made my own website actually, and I wrote on it every day, and I was just obsessed with writing on it about pickup and meeting new women. And it got to the point where I started actually getting some girls. Every few weeks or a few months I'll get a new girl, and for me this was insane. I was like, this is where it's meant to be. I knew you guys have been doing this for years and didn't get a single girl. I knew you guys have been doing this for years and got heaps, but for me this was the time I actually started getting girls, and I was like, wow, this is real. I'm living it. I'm living this. This is getting insane for me. And we went at it so mindlessly, and what ended up happening is I talked to like probably by this point 10,000, 20,000 girls, and it's not even a big city I live in. And it got to the point where I felt like I talked to every single girl, and my friends were starting to get affected. They're like, Bradicus, you've literally, when we go out, we feel like you're cock blocking us, because every girl we talk to, if they see you, it's almost as if they already know who you are, and it makes it harder because that's the pickup guy. That's him. I was the pickup guy in my city, and I got laid a few times, but I was the pickup guy. I took like every fucking girl, and that's the thing. I was very obvious about the way I approached. So since I was so obvious, people would remember me. And then I had my website, and people found that, and I had a lot of people hating on me, especially a lot of girls I approached, because of the way I'd been approaching and how blind I was, and got a lot of hate. And if I wasn't able to get through this, I wouldn't be where I am now. But I was able to get through an amazing amount of shit, because I remember every day I woke up, I had people posting about me or saying really ridiculous shit, really rude stuff, because I put myself on the internet about my field reports and people had found it. But what I ended up doing was removing all that and continuing. And at that time I'd been seeing a few girls, and then I stopped doing pickup for a while. I was just seeing them girls, and they disappeared. They left because I wasn't yet ready. I wasn't yet ready to settle down. I wasn't yet ready to have something like that. And they left on their own, which was, it left me in a mess for 3 or 4 months. I was like, I went and did pickup sporadically, and it didn't feel right. I thought about them girls, and I was just a fucking mess. I remember just thinking about how I'd get them back, and my friends were awesome. They were just like, bro, don't do it. And they would reassure me, and they were there for me. And how I got by was watching documentaries, finding new hobbies, finding new things to get inspired about in the world. And this made me realize, yes, immerse yourself in pickup, but find other hobbies. So I got really into history, really into the universe, really into philosophy, really into meditation, really into learning more about how the mind works, and substances like that change the way we think, not necessarily illegal drugs. And thinking about politics and all that kind of stuff, I started seeing the world in a different way. And I took a big break from pickup, and I just spent a lot of my time just researching new things about the world. And maybe half a year later, this was good because it gave me a break, and all the people that remembered me, because I approached literally the whole city I was in, everyone remembered me. I gave it like a 6-7 month break, so people started forgetting me again, and I got back into it. But it was a little bit slow, and after I started getting back into it, it was hard. I would go out and then leave like 3 or 4 hours into the night without, like I'd go out at 10 p.m. and leave at midnight because I felt so uncomfortable. And what I realized was I was going about things so blindly, it wasn't sustainable the way I was doing pickup before. I had been blocking everything out. It wasn't real. And this is when I made the decision. I needed to do something different. I needed to change the way I'd been doing this the whole time. So I remember going to like a free tour. It was like a pickup event, and then flying to Vegas for 3 months to learn from this guy who was one of the best in the world. This was one of the best things I did at the time. This was a few years ago, and I got some insane results and learned so much in Vegas. But in reality, when I came back, I realized that even that helped me, but Vegas in itself is a bit of a playground. It's a little bit fake. And the results you get in Vegas aren't necessarily going to represent what happens elsewhere in the world, because people go to Vegas to let loose and have fun. So I came back, and then I realized, wow, I got like with 20 girls there in a short period of time, and I can't do that again. I can't make that happen. I could still get some girls, and I was doing better, but I couldn't replicate it to the point I wanted to. So came back, met more girls in my city again, but then realized the real way forward was to travel and meet new people that were really good at this. Find mentors and find what I was uncomfortable with and really improve on that. And it took me a while, and I made a lot of realizations. I remember one of my first realizations that I made, I was just lying there in a hostel on a Saturday night. I didn't go out, I was just lying there because this epiphany was so big. I was lying there, I was just like fascinated by what I was thinking. I was like, holy shit. It's all about paying attention to the other person. Just listen to them and pay attention to them, and they will show you and allow you to do what you need to do to connect with them. And I made this epiphany, and I didn't even really understand at the time. This was just randomly came to my mind, and for me it was like the biggest deal. And it wasn't actually even a year down the track till this actually came into play. But this started to come into my mind, and I went out a little bit, found another girlfriend, hung out with her, and this slowly started sinking in. And then I came across Alex Social, and I started getting more and more girls, and started getting better, but I hadn't really made it real and made it click and made it awesome yet. So I started watching his videos, and it was like literally the opposite of everything I've been told in my life and everything I've been doing. And that was to focus on the comfort. This is like the biggest thing at the time. I always thought to get a girl, you had to make her attractive. You had to focus on her being attracted to you, and that's what you'd get her, how you get her. And yes, you can get some girls like that, but I remember going out some nights, and I'd go out and I'd approach every girl in the club, and some girls would be like liking me, but I couldn't leave with them. And I remember one guy, he never had that attraction. He would never like be making out with a lot of girls, but at the end of the night, he'd always leave with a girl. And I was like, how the fuck is he doing this? And what he told me is, they have to feel safe around you. They have to feel comfortable with you. Stop trying to make them attracted to you. Yes, that's important, but it turns out comfort is more important than attraction. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay, I mean, I can see this working, but I don't understand. I was kind of skeptical. And it wasn't until I was listening to Alex and going through his products, I saw all the proof, all the videos, and I could see that it was a real thing, but I just didn't know how to do it. So I dedicated months and months to go out and just work on comfort without trying to make anything happen. And it was so uncomfortable, and it didn't work. And I almost felt like I was going backwards. I was like getting less results because I was trying something new, and realized that's fine. It's about the process. You don't need results. Don't be dependent on what the results are, because they will come if you just put your heart and soul into this. They will come later. And it wasn't working at the time. But after a while, after letting go and after a nice gift, one of the hottest girls I ever been with, I met her in a food court, and this was through me not needing to do anything. I just went over, told her my story, focused on the comfort, didn't expect her to see her, and through that, she was more than happy to see me again, and stuff happened with her. And that was one of the first girls where I didn't actually make it happen. I didn't force it to happen for it to happen. It just happened through listening to her and connecting, rather than what was the next thing to say to make her like me. It was not like that. And what she said was amazing too. She was like, the only reason this worked, because lots of guys have approached me, is because you made me feel comfortable. You made me feel like you didn't expect anything. I didn't feel like you wanted anything from me. Like, it was almost as if she felt like I was ready to walk away at any stage, and I wasn't trying to make something happen. And there was something else she said, I forget, but it was basically along the lines of, you weren't like, in pickup layman terms, you weren't that pickup guy. You seemed normal. That's it. She said, you just seem like a normal person. And the thing is, the biggest thing I'd been deluded from, I had never seemed like a normal person. And working on comfort is what's normal. That's how normal people act. And for me, I was like, what the fuck? But everything I learned was normal people were weird. Normal people were chodes. And now I'm being told to do that. I'm being told to be chody. What the hell? And it wasn't like that at all. You can still be a valuable person and do attractive things. You just need to focus more on the attraction and trust that things will happen and let it happen. And after a while, and actually doing a program of Alex, after like realizing this and various things happening, when I went on the program of Alex, my results skyrocketed like I've never seen in my life. I was able to go home with girls every night, make things happen, and even Alex was like, holy shit. You could see like the crazy things that I had gone through in my past, just through some conditioned behaviors, and you could see this is the most hard case pickup conditioned guy I've ever met in my life, and he is the most experienced pickup coach in the world. So that is telling you something. But I was able to come out of it and realize so many things, and now after that, this was like months and months ago. This is like 6 or 7 months ago, and I was able to skyrocket my results so many different ways. And let me go through some of them with you now. So, not alienating people, focusing on comfort, being relaxed to myself, knowing that I have value, knowing that since I've done this for so long and been through so much bullshit other people have been through, I can get through the end of the day. Nothing phases me. I've seen everything. I've seen all the crap out there, because I've approached tens of thousands of girls and reapproached them and scared a lot of people and had people get really angry at me and things not work and things work. I've seen so many different things. I've been with lots of girls through different avenues and different ways that now I could trust that I can take a step back and let all that be a part of me, but now focus on the other people. Like the epiphany I made years ago has only started to play into play now. When I was lying in that bed and thinking I need to focus on the girl, that it all started to make sense now. Crazy that I had an epiphany years ago that didn't really make sense until years later. But now it was more about just understanding people, having fun with other people and really enjoying them, not expecting anything to happen, but knowing that it can happen if I just give it the opportunity to do so, knowing that I can go out any day, go and talk to girls, and one of them is very likely to go somewhere now. I didn't expect it to go somewhere, and nothing happens, doesn't matter. I started to walk outside and truly believe that I could connect with people I actually saw. Because before, I would see a girl and I'd be like, she's just another girl, I'm going to game her. But I didn't really see her as someone I could connect with and something could happen with. But now, I know I can connect with anyone. I know anything can happen. If someone's in the position to talk, someone's in the position where they're available, I'm very likely to be able to connect with them. So the biggest last things that really skyrocketed my results were I needed to focus on my empathy. And after I started using more statements of empathy, paying attention to everything, not having to approach every single girl, and then using the few approaches I did in a more wise, coherent manner, where I understood people and wanted to get to know them and cared about them, things went so much better. And then really appreciating people. And the other thing that I fixed was whenever I met girls and got along with and got with them, they'll disappear a lot of the time. And this was because they didn't understand me. They didn't know me very well. They didn't know who I was. And this had to do with me not opening up. Me, in some way or another, not feeling like I was enough. And when I realized that I am enough, there is no reason why you're not enough, everything started to change. I started to show people my flaws, show people my vulnerability, because I realized that I was hiding it because I didn't believe people would be accepting of it. But then I realized everyone has flaws, everyone has insecurities, everyone has problems. And by addressing them, paying attention to them, and sharing them, not only can you fix them and it makes it obvious to yourself what you can do better, other people see you as a real person because they have flaws, they can relate to them, they understand you better, they know what's wrong with you, and it gives you guys a bond. And it's real. You don't have to worry about people seeing you for who you really are because you're putting up an ego, putting up some bullshit, because now you are who you are. So you don't have to worry about being something that you're not, or how people are going to perceive you, because however they perceive you, it doesn't matter, because you are who you are. And you've learned all these skills and you're doing things for the right reasons. And if someone doesn't like you, they don't like you. You can only give them an opportunity to come in, and if they come in, it's amazing and it's not fake. And they're going to continue to like you, and you continue to grow together. It's about growing with people together, not taking something from them and getting something from them, or needing to give someone something. It's about doing things together, growing together as people, and influencing other people, but at the same time letting other people influence you, not feeling like you're the best. Also, no matter where you're at, you can still learn. So understanding all that, like really throwing the ego to the ground, working on my appreciation for other people, my empathy, showing other people who I really am, showing them my flaws, my vulnerability, all that kind of stuff. And then this is the strange thing, this allowed me to not only feel better and not worry. Worry is a big thing. It also allowed me to not only when I was getting girls, now I was able to actually see them again and continue talking to them. And now I know when I do return to other corners of the world, I have people I can connect with anywhere I go, and no matter where I go, I can meet people. So it's amazing. And ever since then, things have just been absolutely insane. And I want to help you guys do the same. I want everyone to know that this is possible, because even I wasn't sure once upon a time, and now I'm here to say that it is, even with all the uncertainty there was. And the uncertainty is there for a reason, because if you were certain, what mystery would there be? Everyone would do it because everyone knew it would work. But the uncertainty is there to really filter out the people that aren't meant to do it. And I'm here to say that I want to tell you that it will all happen. It can all happen. Take a page from your future self. Know that if you go on this journey and you build yourself in more than just one way, and build yourself in ways that you're uncomfortable doing the best things you can do for yourself, and learning the things you're bad at, learning from other people that are better than you, that you don't necessarily think you'll get value from, but they're good at what you're not good at. You can learn something amazing from them. and it's going to help you. And if you just take a page from your future self, you get so much value and so much reassurance from that, knowing that in the future it all will be okay. And it almost takes some of the worry, some of the burden off of yourself in the present moment now, when things aren't necessarily going so well, things aren't working out, and to be really reassured that in the future it's always going to be sorted. So you know it's going to work, it's all going to work out, so you can almost relax now, but still put the effort in without having all the burden, all the worry of not knowing if it's going to work. Because I'm here to say it will if you just put the time and effort in and take the right steps. I went through all this bullshit. I went out not doing what I was comfortable doing. I didn't know what I was doing. I got a lot of haters. I got so much pressure to do things. There were points where I just wanted to give up, and I did give up, but then I came back in with a fresh perspective, and there's so many times where I could have just not ever came back, because I got a lot of hate, a lot of bullshit, so much stuff that, like, having hundreds and thousands of girls giving you shit and reading about you on the internet and saying that you're an idiot, like you're fucked up, you're a wank, all this kind of shit. Like Julian Blank, maybe not to that extent, but to that extent in one city, that's what it was like for me. Like, most hated man in Adelaide or whatever. But that was me, and I came through it all, and now I'm a stronger, more developed person. I've learned all these lessons through dealing with the uncertainty, dealing with the uncomfort, and then finding the beauty at the end of the tunnel. And I hope you guys get some value from this and some insight, and hopefully see something you can do within yourself.
Hope you guys enjoyed this video, my story in the game coming up. Bit of a motivational video. You can see them a lot different back then, but that's my roots and that's where I came from. By the way, guys, I'm going on a world tour all around the world, coaching everywhere. If you've ever wanted to get coached by me, I'm doing a world tour. Europe, Australia, Asia, America, literally everywhere. To apply for coaching, you can go and message me on my email or my Instagram or my Facebook or my Telegram. All in the links in the description below. Also, if you wanted to learn how I meet women and all of my techniques and how I literally do it, how I meet girls anywhere in the day, how I find the hottest girls, go and get Daygame Seduction, dayseduction.com, my literal A to Z for the day. I never have to make another course. It's literally everything you need to know about Daygame. Literally everything. Yeah, guys. Well, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It really does help. Subscribe to the channel. Also, go subscribe to my Rumble, because if I disappear on YouTube, I'll be going mainstream on Rumble. So go and subscribe to my Rumble. Very important. Please do it. Comment below what videos you want to see next. I do literally the videos that guys tell me to do. But yeah, guys, until later, Bradicus out.